Do you think investing is just about patience and waiting for your money to grow? The truth is harsher and far more powerful than anyone has told you. Today, you're going to discover the harsh truth about compound interest, the secret that the wealthy know and almost no one reveals, how time, capital, and strategy combine to multiply your money relentlessly. Forget the myths and easy promises. If you really want your money to work for you, you need to understand what truly makes this financial machine work. Stay until the end, because this information could change the way you see wealth forever. To illustrate, let me tell you the story of Tommy. At 25, on a very tight budget, he lived frugally. He avoided eating out and buying expensive clothes. With that effort, he had $200 left each month, which he invested diligently. 10 years later, checking his account, he saw $44,000. At that moment, he felt deeply disappointed. But what did Tommy get wrong? He followed the textbook. Live below your means and invest the rest. The problem was, he was trying to create an avalanche with just a handful of snow. Compound interest doesn't reward willpower. It multiplies mass. $100,000 invested becomes $200,000 over time. $1 invested also doubles in a few years. It's not magic or illusion. It's simply math working. Feeling defeated, Tommy persisted. With a new job, he increased his investment to $50 a month. 10 more years passed, and checking his balance again, he felt the same frustration. After 20 years of investing, he had accumulated just $300,000. Then Tommy, now more mature and experienced, understood a harsh truth. Money only works when you give it enough from the start. The magic of compound interest only works wonders when the numbers are meaningful. Starting early or being disciplined isn't enough if a crucial piece is missing, a substantial amount of money. And yes, Tommy was partly right. Amount matters, a lot. But he overlooked something important. Lacking patience, he decided to give up after 20 years of investing, preferring to spend the money on buying a house. He never saw what those $300,000 could have become because time hadn't finished its work. Had he left that money invested for another 10 years, it would have become $1,100,000. And with another decade, $3,600,000, generating a monthly income of over $36,000. This is the hard part to accept. If you don't have patience to let time do its work and multiply your wealth, you'll need to compensate by investing much more upfront. But if you have limited capital, there's no other way. You need patience and the ability to let time do its job. In this video, we'll explore how the richest accelerate wealth building, even when starting late, and I'll give you practical tips for making compound interest work even with small amounts of money. It may not be easy, but it's far from impossible. Let's start with the first factor: interest rates. Imagine 3 people: Malcolm, Thea, and Lucas. Malcolm has a conservative profile, preferring fixed income investments that earn an average annual return of 8%. Thea has a bit more knowledge and is willing to take slightly higher risks, investing in real estate funds with an 11% annual return. Lucas, on the other hand, prefers the stock market. He built a diversified portfolio with solid, profitable companies, achieving an average 14% annual return. All 3 contribute $500 per month for 30 years. How much do you think they'll have at the end? You might think, only a 3% difference, maybe $100,000 more at most. But look at the result. Malcolm ends up with $4 million. Thea reaches $5,200,000. Lucas finishes with $7,300,000, double Thea's amount and $3,500,000 more than Malcolm. Now, if Lucas had achieved 15% instead of 14%, his final wealth would have been $7,800,000, $500,000 more with just 1% extra. That's the power of compound interest. The second factor is time. Let's change the scenario. This time, Malcolm starts early at 18, investing $500 a month at a 12% annual return until age 65. Thea starts later at 25 and doubles her investment to $1,000 per month also until 65 with the same return. Lucas starts even later at 30, investing $500 a month. Who ends up with more? Many would bet on Malcolm since he invested the most in total, but the numbers tell a different story. Malcolm accumulates about $8.5 million after investing a total of $630,000. Thea reaches $9.7 million with $480,000 invested. Lucas, investing only $240,000 over his life, ends up with an impressive $10.8 million. How is this possible? Carlos invested much less, but still ends up with more. The explanation is clear. Time is the most powerful factor in compound interest. Start early, and your money has more time to grow and work for you. But starting early alone isn't enough. There's a saying, the mill doesn't turn with weak wind. In this case, the wind is the amount you invest. That's the third element, money. To really understand this, let's talk about Warren Buffett, one of the most influential figures in finance. With a fortune of roughly $152 billion, he's a living example of compound interest. But why did it work so well for him? Buffett perfectly combined three key factors. He achieved annual returns of 20 to 30% over several decades, something extremely rare in the stock market. If you had invested $500 a month at that rate for 40 years, you'd have just over $200 million, still far from Buffett's fortune. Why? Because he started very young, at just 11, putting his money to work early, and now at 94, he's seen time multiply his wealth like no one else. The detail that few people know is that even at 11 years old, Buffett already had a considerable source of income. He sold Coca-Cola, candy, and newspapers door to door, organized his own delivery route, distributed 500 newspapers a day, earned a penny per delivery, and reinvested everything. By age 13, his income, adjusted for today, would be equivalent to $80 per day, more than many adults earned at the time. In other words, he not only started early, but also began with a meaningful amount. Think of it this way. Throwing a pebble into a lake creates small ripples. Now imagine throwing a huge rock. The waves expand with much more force. That's exactly what volume does in compound interest. Time is important, but by itself, it produces only small changes. It's volume combined with time that multiplies impact and accelerates results. Many people believe that simply waiting, being consistent, and letting compound interest work will be enough. But the truth is, there's an equation behind it. You need three variables working together. If one is missing, the miracle doesn't happen. Compound interest isn't just a game of patience, it's also a game of strategy. If you're not focused on increasing your income, investing smarter, and generating capital, you're not building wealth. You're just decorating your savings account. Buffett became a billionaire because he brilliantly combined returns, time, and capital. Now that you understand that these three variables, interest, time, and money, go hand in hand, let's see how the rich leverage them to the max. While most people save $50 a month, hoping for magic in 40 years, the wealthy invest $50,000 at once and leap decades ahead in just a few years. That's called capital leverage. Imagine gardeners. One plants a seed and waits for it to grow. The other transplants an adult tree and harvests fruit in the next season. Both call it investing, but only one feeds their family while still young. That's why bonuses, business profits, inheritances, and even tax refunds are used by the wealthy as initial fuel. They inject large sums from the start and accelerate the process. They understand something very simple. Time multiplies money, and the larger the initial amount, the faster the growth curve rises. I'm not saying investing small amounts is bad. If you already invest $50 or $100 a month, you're forming a habit that's essential for building wealth. But let's be honest. $50 or $100 a month won't transform your life. You need to invest more money. It's an uncomfortable truth, but a necessary one. Consider a surgeon, a programmer, or an entrepreneur. These people can invest large sums over a relatively short period, 10 to 15 years. They contribute six-figure amounts from the start and let time do the rest. They know that $10,000 a month for 10 years achieves far more than $100 a month for 40 years. This isn't about being born rich. It's about building skills, businesses, or side projects that generate capital quickly. Once you have critical mass, compound interest becomes a turbo engine. So ask yourself this: what skill, service, or product could increase your income by 20% this year? That extra income isn't just to improve your life now. It's the brick that will build the foundation of your future. But how do you move from where you are to the capital that truly makes a difference? That's where a realistic two-stage plan comes in. Before you can harvest, you need to plant strategically. Stage 1 is building. Here are 4 strategies to start. Increase your income. Invest in courses, certifications, or skills that raise your market value. A $500 course could earn you $2,000 more per month. Cut unnecessary expenses. Cancel unused subscriptions. Renegotiate bills. Sell things you don't need. Every dollar saved becomes an investment. Create alternative income sources. This could be a side business, an online store, or freelance services. These generate new contributions and reduce the time needed. Leverage extra income, bonuses, tax refunds, gifts. Don't spend them, invest them. Stage 2 is protecting what you've built. Compound interest collapses if the principal is lost. Buffett's golden rule, never lose money, speaks precisely to this. Wealthy people shield their assets through tax planning, diversification, real estate, solid investments, and multiple income streams. They'd rather earn a steady 10% than risk 25% and then lose 15%. Constant growth accumulates. Volatility resets the game. Every preserved dollar becomes another worker the next day. As wealth grows, protection against taxes, inflation, and unnecessary risks becomes essential. Now that you understand all of this, there's one invisible engine of multiplication left: yourself. Skills grow faster than investments if you keep learning. Learning a new skill, like persuasive writing, negotiation, or programming, can double your income in less than a year. That extra money becomes seed, opportunity, security. Almost all self-made millionaires invested in themselves before assets. They developed the ability to generate value on demand. So, if you want to get out of the slow lane, think twice before investing $500 in a real estate fund this month. It may be more worthwhile to invest $500 in a course that could transform your life completely. The right skill can increase your income for decades, something no investment alone can do. Finally, systems are multipliers. Hard work has a limit. Systems don't. They scale rental real estate, automated stores, digital products, organized agencies. They all follow the same pattern: build once, maintain, and harvest forever. If you only earn money when you work, growth is limited. But if you create assets that generate income while you sleep, compound interest works for you 24/7. Yes, systems require heavy effort at first. They seem slow and clumsy. But when they start working, every dollar they generate adds to your wealth, reducing the time needed to reach critical mass. It's hard to accept, but it's true. If you start investing small, financial returns won't come quickly. The numbers don't lie. With small contributions, even with inconsistent discipline, it could take 40, 50, or even 60 years to build wealth that truly allows you to live off your income. And that frustrates many people because the promise of compound interest seems magical. But in practice, it requires volume. It's like trying to fill a swimming pool with a dropper. You'll get there, but it will take forever. That's why, if you want to accelerate, you need to increase your income and make larger contributions. That's the reality for those who reap the rewards early. But, and this is important, not everyone can contribute large amounts from the start. And that's okay, because there's another path, slower but equally powerful: patience. If you can't contribute much now, you need to give time. and you need to be consistent. Discipline, consistency, and patience form the tripod that supports those who start from scratch. They don't promise fast wealth, but they guarantee real growth. What you can't do is stop halfway. Those who sow little and quit early never harvest anything. But those who sow with intention, even slowly, and keep nurturing, watering, and waiting, one day they harvest a forest. If this video helped you see compound interest more realistically, leave a like and share it with someone who also needs to understand this game. A big hug, and see you next time.